Hello everybody and welcome to the first edition of Sports Solence because of Saturday with me, Lewis Hancock. I'm joined today by sports journalist Joe Tomlinson and Leicester City fan Charlie Carmichael. Good afternoon, fellas.
Good afternoon.
All right, mate.
Today we're going to talk about an issue recently raised which has caused many an opinion in the footballing world, the matter of safe standing. Lots of fans in this country feel very passionately about the concept of whether English stadia should or shouldn't have areas that allow fans to stand safely. 66.3% of football fans are for it, 17.3% are opposed, with the rest undecided. Now, Charlie, what was your initial response to hearing that safe standing could come into English football?
Well, to be honest, I'm not really for it myself. I think the atmosphere is better off as it is at the moment.
And Joe, do you think it could increase the atmosphere at football grounds?
If you have a look at Dortmund, I mean, they've got a 27,000 standing stand that is probably the best atmosphere in Europe, isn't it? I mean, you can see it in the Champions League games. Teams just come out in awe of the Dortmund support.
Bristol City have installed a trial block of rail seats at Ashton Gate. They're the first club in the UK to do so, and the club's supporters liaison officer, David Lloyd, told me earlier this week that the decision is predominantly down to fan power.
I think the initiative originally came from supporters, a lot of supporters, not just at Bristol City, but I think generally in football, have made it quite clear that voting with their feet quite literally by standing throughout games at grounds all around the country. 12,000 people stand on the Kop habitually every game. That can create problems for people who don't want to stand and have got somebody standing in front of them, and we felt that what we needed to do was get some sense of order, if you like, so that everybody knew quite literally where they stood or where they sat.
Safety is obviously the key word surrounding the issue. The Taylor report brought in all-seater stadiums because it would be deemed safer. What impact will it have on football today?
Well, from a safety point of view, we genuinely believe it's going to be safer than the situation that you currently have, where you can have blocks of, as I said, thousands of people. The great thing about rail seating is all it does is it is basically a row of seats that can tip up. There's a line of railings between each row, so that we believe it's a lot safer. And we had Trevor Hicks and Margaret Aspinall of the Hillsborough support group down to have a look at what we were proposing to do, and they did admit that it is a lot safer than the situation that currently exists in football grounds.
You mentioned Margaret Aspinall there. She vowed to field a strong case against the return of standing at football matches. Is it hard to equate the incident in 1989 of Hillsborough when promoting a campaign of this magnitude?
What happened at Hillsborough was terribly, terribly sad, and we must always remember that in any campaigning that we do, that there are people whose lives would change forever because they lost loved ones. Margaret and Trevor and the Hillsborough support group have a principled and philosophical objection to standing at football. I think they feel that if you allow some people to stand, it'll be the thin end of the wedge, and before you know, we'll be back to the big old open terraces. What we have to do is, if we bring this in, and hopefully we'll be allowed to trial it and prove that it can be done safely, is just to make sure that we can continue to do it safely, and that the Hillsborough tragedy is seen as the turning point at which football stadia then became safe places for everybody, whether they're standing or seating.
Finally, David, what's next for Bristol City and safe standing as a whole?
As you know, we've installed a block of 33 demonstration seats which have attracted a great deal of interest. We've had lots of people down to look at those, including people from the Department of Media, Culture and Sport, and MPs have been to see it, and we will carry on our campaign with other clubs as well, and with the Football League, to continue to persuade the government that it's time for a change in law to make standing legal at football.
So guys, what do you think about what David said? Do you feel he's right to say it's going to be safer?
I definitely think it can be safer. I think the fact that you've got 25 teams across the Premier League and Football League backing safe standing, including there's giants in there. There's the Giants of Man City, won a Premier League, Aston Villa, Swansea, they're all backing it. So I don't see any reason why, as long as it's implemented properly and with the correct safety regulations, safe standing can't be a good thing for football.
David obviously said he'd spoken to Margaret Aspinall, the chair of the Hillsborough Family Support Group, and she's growing to the idea of rail seats offering more protection. Charlie, it's been 25 years since Hillsborough. Are people worrying a little bit too much?
I don't think so, to be honest, because you can never be too safe on the idea. The risk can never be totally eliminated that a tragedy may not happen again. In terms of Hillsborough, there's obviously the families, I think, would find that deeply distressing if you were to bring something like that back into the game. And as I've said before, like, the cop stands up as it is anyway, and the atmosphere is amazing. I don't feel there's a need to bring that risk into the game again.
Is it not a risk currently, as fans haven't got a barrier to stop them toppling over in audacious celebration?
I think it is a risk. I mean, I went to Wembley to watch England-Germany a few months ago. We stood the whole game with no safety rail in front of us. If somebody had pushed me from behind, I wouldn't have stood a chance. I would have just toppled straight over the seat in front, and then God knows what would have happened to me.
It's lucky England weren't great on that night then. Moving into the local area, Basingstoke have said they'd like to see it go into non-league football. And in the Football League, Portsmouth have released a statement saying it is something the football safety authorities should look at. And if found to be perfectly safe, at least give the clubs the opportunity to decide if they want it. Charlie, as a Leicester fan in the Football League, do you feel it could benefit the King Power Stadium to have these safe standing areas?
If I'm honest, the atmosphere is great as it is at the moment, and in terms of the layout of our stadium, it being one of the modern grounds going all the way around, it would actually be, I think, quite hard to accommodate that sort of safe standing area.
Could it be construed as a lower league option for fans, such as yourself, Joe, as a Exeter City fan? Would it work better at St James's Park than it would, say, Old Trafford or Anfield?
I think it can work at Football League level and a Premier League level. I mean, St James's Park has a standing stand, the Big Bank, which is a bit of an over-exaggeration, but I mean, it can work. It's been shown to work, that safe standing works. You've got 27,000 fans at Dortmund, as I've already mentioned, and they don't have any problem with safe standing. So I can't see why the biggest stand in Europe would work and then having it in the COP wouldn't.
At the moment, Leagues 1 and 2 are allowed terracing, whereas clubs have to have all-seater grounds if they've been in the Championship or higher for 3 or more years. Is it a case of, if it's not broke, don't fix it?
Perhaps. The fact that it's in lower league grounds could potentially be safer because there are less people. However, by bringing it into those grounds, you're also running the risk of people saying, well, why can't we have it? Why can't we have it? And it could escalate. And obviously, if everyone gets it then and there is another tragedy, then there's going to be so many questions asked, and it could just be a potential disaster.
Potentially so. Well, that concludes this week's podcast. Many thanks to Joe and Charlie for their input, and of course David as well. That was Because of Saturday. I've been Lewis Hancock. Thank you for listening.